from the first, just like when we rap. Niggas get sick. And now they viral. Niggas is sick to their stomach and they sick in the lungs. I don't do my law.
Let everybody know, man, it's your boy Knowledge of God, Hip Hop is Real. And we have a very special guest. You know, I had to check up on him, see how he doing. It's the one and only, man. Jey The Nightwing, the Mad King in the building. Let's get it.
Yeah, man.
Real talk, man. I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, being here today. You're one of the guys who, Norbs, I remember when he started talking about you, you know, a lot of, you know, the top guys, when they talk about you, they like, yo, he's one of those guys. He's one of the Geechee level candidates and twerk type of, they put you in that, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, your hype. I feel like you haven't gotten there, but as far as talent, you are definitely one of the dopest dudes out here doing it, man.
Yeah, I 100% agree. As far as being one of the dopest to do it, like I try to be, you know, to the best of my ability. But yeah, as far as the trajectory, you know, I've done my good due diligence of fucking that up as much as possible. You know, I've tried to, but you know, I think I've done enough to like stay afloat. But this year, it ain't no staying afloat no more, man. It's complete shooting through the ceiling. Like I'm done bullshitting. I've made some drastic changes, like in order to, you know, be able to put more time into this craft. And I just found it necessary to, because there's a certain direction that Smack is going towards, and URL, like in general, is going towards. And for me in my position, it makes the most sense right now to further invest, you know what I'm saying, as far as time and as far as preparation, but not just that, but like marketing as well. And there were certain things that like just kind of stood in my way, and I've taken the time, especially with this virus, with this pandemic, to pretty much move those situations out. So
one thing I could say is, I don't know how much you switching up or what you changing, but you never really had a problem when you were on point. I feel like the only thing was you was having your little chokes and your little situations. Like that's the only thing like I can really say, because even when you actually messed up, your bars was always crazy, and the fans or whoever, the crowd or whoever's in there, is always wild at what you're doing. So it was always like you kind of killing yourself, or you kind of your worst enemy in the situation.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The thing about it is, though, I don't know if too many people notice, but I happen to notice when I watch my battles, it's not enough.
Okay.
The writing ability, the projection, it's not necessarily enough to float me. Like, even if I'm just, you know, 100% prepared, and the adjustments that I'm making are to alleviate that as well. Obviously, you know, being prepared, being 100% is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're right to a sense. Like I wouldn't necessarily have to change anything in order to be successful. But for me, the goal isn't to just be successful. It's to be the best to ever do it, period.
Wow.
And there's certain things that I notice the fans have kind of gotten used to. They're not necessarily conscious of being used to it, but there were certain things that I would do in the beginning that would really give you that, you know, shock and awe, because you weren't used to seeing it. But now it's not that surprising anymore. Okay. It doesn't have the same impact that it used to. So it's pretty much most of the adjustments I've implemented is things that, because there are certain abilities that I think the fans think I'm not capable like I rap too slow, and I think the fans are under the impression that I don't have the ability to rap a certain way, and it wasn't necessarily that I couldn't. It was that I didn't feel the need to, you know, depending on who I'm battling. And also, it was kind of like, you know, if you got a style that most of your peers, the people that are on your level, if they're not able to beat it, then why change up the style? You know what I mean? But I think that after this year, I'm not going to be on that particular level anymore. So if I'm going to make changes, I need to know that they'll work. And while I'm still on this level, this is the opportunity for me to like really basically test out the new model and see if it needs any improvements before I get to like a rookies versus vets card or something bigger, you know, in a sense.
You know what's interesting, Jay? Like, wanted to ask you is just kind of like, what do you feel like there was a level of pressure added to? Because I feel like, you know, they put you up there as one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always like I see it every time. It's always those guys like, you know, when it comes to the new names or the new guys coming in and things like that. There's always a few that's pushed to the front. Like, these are going to be the ones. You know what I'm saying? Did you feel a level of pressure coming in, knowing that the staff had so much, you know, confidence in you?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of pressure that I was feeling at that time. It wasn't something that I could really be aware of in the moment. It was something that I realized once that pressure was no longer on me. Then it was like, oh, like once I stopped kind of being the guy that everyone's talking about and everyone's like looking to, once Swamp became that person,
Yeah.
then it was like, then I realized like, oh, I got a little more freedom now. Okay. Like now, if I fuck up, it's not as big of a deal because I've already fucked up. You know what I mean? Like I've set a certain context that it's like, oh, okay, well, this guy isn't really, you know, what we thought he was. So it's like now when he fucked, but if Swamp's in that position now, where like when he fucks up, everybody's gonna make a big ass deal about it because they haven't seen him do it yet.
And even when you look at Ace Amin was also in the running for like the top spot of the new guys and things like that. And when he messed up, the backlash and the, you know what I'm saying? They get on your ass.
So fucking bewildering to me because like as soon as he lost to Swamp, everybody acting like Ace Amin all of a sudden, not just you know, got beat by Swamp. They was acting like that nigga was trash. And I'm like, you niggas are sick. Like,
you know, it's tough because, you know, it's hard to understand it sometimes, you know, when you guys are at that level. Because I feel like him beating you brought him to another level, too. Where it was like, nah, he beat Jay.
Yeah, and it's a strange altitude, man. Like it's a very strange place to be at, where like every single thing you do, like is like it either raises or like decreases your stock dramatically, and it's like like I look at individuals like Nitty and Gotti, who kind of like when they got when they got to that standard that people were holding them at, they just raised the roof. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you know, very, very little, if any, slip ups like in trajectory. Like I look at those individuals and I'm just like, man, these niggas are demigods, bro. Like, they make it look easy too, and they're very like multifaceted. They're not just, you know, battle rapping. They're excelling and taking advantages of all kinds of opportunities like music and promotion, you know, all kinds of things that like, you know, I'm looking at it like when I had that spot, I was just trying to battle. That was it. I wasn't really, you know, wasn't trying to put out no music. I wasn't trying to do other things. Like it was just that. And like the fact that they was able to like be in that position and conquer that position while still like handling other things that came with it and, you know, capitalize on their opportunities. Like that shit is amazing to me. And it definitely, I feel like it gives it's inspiring for someone like me, because it sets the bar to a high point that, you know, is it's achievable. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like there's anything like special about them that isn't, you know, attributable to other individuals like in my position.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're gonna hold yourself to a standard, this is the highest possible standard you can hold it to.
I agree.
Yeah.
Nah, and you know, the reason, you know, I bring in the pressure and things like that is because, of course, you know, the Mad King has entered the Ultimate Madness arena. You know what I'm
Man.
saying? Which is dope. Because now it's like guys who's kind of in a sense graduated, and now y'all in the game. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all here really competing, not just for the money or for the top spot, but also for a bigger opportunity. Maybe a Summer Madness, maybe you know what I'm saying, a Gnome and things like that. High level cards to advance your career. There's kind of like a clear path to show you where you could go, how you could get on the Gnome. Like these are the competitions that's going to do it. I wanted to ask you, man. What was your thoughts when you? What made you want to join the competition? How did that happen for you?
I mean, in the position that I was in when they offered me the tournament, I was in a position that basically I would have taken anything at that point to, like, you know, prove myself worthy again. Like, because I feel like what I did, you know, with Survivor Series, like fucking that up, it really like was like a slap in the face to the people that, you know, believed in me and invested in me. So I was actually surprised that they wanted me to be a part of this tournament without, like, you know, having some event or whatnot to, like, you know, book me at that and then prove, like, you know, that you actually trying to take this seriously. I don't know if maybe they seen my work with the smaller leagues, like, because I had a couple of battles before I was booked with this tournament, and after Ace I Mean, where I battled on smaller leagues against MT Money, MT Dollar Sign, and this other cat named Shockwave. Okay. I don't know if they seen that, and then they was like, okay, he seems like he's, you know, taking himself seriously. He seems like he's got that hunger back. Or if it was just something where they was like, you know, they just believe in my ability and they're still like willing to, you know, give me another shot. But as far as where I was at when they was asking me, there was no reason that I could see of turning it down.
Okay.
Like it was nothing but a plus to me.
You know, when I watch some of the comments, some of the things people say, it's like you got a lot of people that think you're dope, but they feel like, will he be able to get over? Like, will he be able to win this competition? Because can he remember his rhymes? Because I feel like me, you know, as a judge for the competition, I feel like that is like the most important thing is you can't choke. You can't choke. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it's 15,000 on the line, whoever, you might have said some better lines. You know what I'm saying? You may have gotten some better lines out. But if somebody is more prepared, then that means, in a sense, it felt like they took their time to put in more work, in a sense, just to be perfect. As much as perfect as they could be. You know what I'm saying? So I would take points on that. Like, but how you know, is it a mental thing? What is it as far as your preparation, or what are you taking into consideration going into this tournament to make sure that you're, you know, on your game every step of the way?
The main things. So I'll start with the short answer and then I'll explain.
Okay.
The main things that make me forget my material, that have made me forget my material in the past, is a lack of preparation, and underestimating the pressure of the situation. Yeah, I'd say those are the two main ones. So those things I found like ways to basically alleviate all of that.
Hold on. What Ace I Mean, you saying you might have been, well, I'm just using that from what you said, but Are you saying you might have been a lack of preparation and a lack of understanding what you were going into?
Not a lack of preparation as far as memorizing my rounds,
Yeah.
but I really didn't. I really wasn't expecting like the kind of pressure to hit me in the moments that it hit me.
Okay.
Like, cause yeah, I fucked up the second and the third, but that pressure hit me before my first round. Like,
and you know what's funny? I remember when you kind of had your first slip up or your first choke or whatever. You said it was like a bar that you said that we just was like, oh, yo, that was great. And then you just was like, okay, where the fuck am I at right now type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like, you know what I mean? You were doing great. Like, I remember that. You know what I'm saying? You choked over us, like, showing you support. Like, oh, yeah, nah, that was hard. That was fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that was the thing. It was like I was realizing that I was about to like, or at least this is how it felt for me. It felt like I was on the branch of making history, like battle rap history. Like I was about to like, me and Ace was about to really fuck this game up with what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it like the realization of that just came at a horrible time. Like it came at a time where like I still had to, I still had to do it.
Yeah.
And like, it was like the realization of that like suffocated me. It was just like boom, like it just hit me like a fucking haymaker. And what I noticed is that like in other battles where I performed really well, like at my best, thoughts like that weren't even considered. And there was a purpose like behind it. Like my Mad Face battle and my Don Marino battle and my first PG that dropped, my Fix battle, there was one key major factor to why those battles happened the way they happened. And that was because when I was on that stage, there was one thought, there was one drive, there was one purpose. And that was like flawless victory. Like there was nothing else in mind. It wasn't about the crowd. It had nothing to do with like me being from the Northwest and having to prove it. It had nothing to do with me being the king and having to prove that, or there was nothing else in mind. Like with Fix, when I battled Fix, it was like I represented like too much to fall. Too much. And like the thought of that like just got me mad enough to where I was gonna perform the shit out of that. And there was no other options. With my Mad Face battle, we just lost a great friend out here in the Northwest, and still being like emotionally tangled with that, I saw that battle as a battle that I had to dedicate to him.
Okay.
So there was no fucking that up. There was no way it was unacceptable. If I had that same kind of passion behind my Ace Amin battle, if I had that same kind of focus that was just like maddening, then that battle never would have went that way. It might have been like as historical as I thought it was going to be, but those kinds of thoughts would never have entered my mind while I was on that stage. And that's where the Mad King came from. The Mad King is treating every single battle with that same madness, with that same focus, because that person does not lose. Like he doesn't lose. I mean, he could lose, but because I see the chinks in his armor. But he's not going to lose to himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because no one doubts. I feel like that you're an exceptional writer, and a performer when you get on the stage. It's really just about comfortability. You also bring a different style. You definitely are original within your own style. So that's another plus for what you bring to the game. But just kind of like a continuation of just like, what is it you think you'll be able to do to kind of get you from I guess going back to those things, or what have you taken to know that I'm gonna get on that in that tournament. I'm blazing. Four battles, whatever it takes. I'm gonna be the last man standing when it's all said and done.
So basically, like what you're asking in a nutshell is, how do you know 100% that you're going to be able to provide that kind of focus?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that there would have to be like a supreme divine intervention that I wouldn't be able to predict. Everything that I can predict, like to the best of my ability, as far as remaining in that zone, because I found a way to like be in that zone. I've practiced with these smaller leagues, like on how to be in that zone. And what's the word I'm looking for? Voluntarily, like how to consciously put myself in that zone.
I got you.
I was able to do that with these smaller leagues, like turn the madness on. So I'm pretty much going based off of like what's worked, and just doing the same kind of process. If it doesn't work, I can't even fathom it, like, because I can't think of what would have to happen in order for it to not work. It would have to be something that like I haven't dealt with before, but. Yeah, that's highly unlikely. 50 Cent
did in the club. What you do with 2 stimmy checks, I do with a dub. She wanna eat, but she threw it all up. She need my food. Hey, so I'ma make it do what it does. What would you do if you knew what you could do with it, cuz? Why you mad at me? Like I released the COVID and tried to sell vaccines. Like I created this bill and tried to control that fiend. I just picked up the sticks and tried to play like me.